Today I want to talk about ADHD and not letting go of the past, especially if something happened that was negative. Now, I'm not making a blanket statement and saying that every ADHDer struggles with this, and there actually isn't even any scientific research to prove this. But I believe that there are 4 reasons why we do tend to ruminate on the negative and have trouble letting go of the past if this is something that resonates with you. And then I want to offer 3 tips to not ruminate on the past and to be able to get over things and move on. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Sara Kelly. I'm an ADHD mindset coach, and I come out with videos every single week on everything ADHD and the isms that go along with having ADHD. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so that you never miss a video from me. Okay, let's get into the 4 reasons why we might have trouble letting go of the past and ruminating in the negative. Reason number 1 is hyperfocus and rumination. People with ADHD may have a tendency to ruminate or obsessively think about situations, conversations, or events. This can be linked to the symptom of hyperfocus, where an individual with ADHD gets intensely focused on an interest or activity to the exclusion of other things. In the context of past events, hyperfocus can make it really hard to let go and move on from negative past events. If this is resonating with you so far, please like this video, and in the comments, let me know if you are someone who is just like me, who at times struggles to get over the past and move on from negative past events. I mean, it's not like I still have an issue with Elsie Rollingston in grade 9 when she shoved me into that locker, but 35 years later, here we are, and I remember that all too clearly. Reason number 2 is part of our executive dysfunction is emotional dysregulation. As ADHDers, we have trouble taking in stimuli and processing it in a way where we can cope in healthy ways. Sometimes something small might happen, and to us, we don't know how to measure how small or big, significant or insignificant it is, and it can really take us down that catastrophic vortex of really big ADHD feelings. People with ADHD might experience emotions more intensely and for a longer duration than others do. This can make negative experiences from the past feel more impactful and harder to move past. I have talked to hundreds of women at this point in my career, and a lot of us do hold on to things that are negative. And if you're at a point where you would like to stop living in the past and learn how to harness your brain in a way where you look for the positives instead of the negatives, I have a video linked above all about lucky girl syndrome and the reticular activator system. Reason number 3 is RSD, which stands for rejection sensitivity dysphoria. It's actually a term coined by William Dodson that's not currently in the diagnostic criteria for having ADHD, but there's a very high correlation to having ADHD and experience RSD, or rejection sensitivity dysphoria. What RSD is perceived or actual rejection from others, or it can even be rejection of ourselves. And this is where our people pleasing, our lack of boundaries, and sometimes being these yes people to our own detriment really comes into play. If you would like to learn how to have better boundaries and not be a people pleaser anymore, there is also a video linked that talks all about how to create healthy boundaries when you have ADHD. And just an interesting stat that really ties back to rejection sensitivity dysphoria and even emotional dysregulation. The average child by age 10 years old who has ADHD, whether it's diagnosed or not, receives approximately 20,000 pieces more negative feedback than their neurotypical counterpart. When I was younger, I was told that I was too much, not enough, lazy, a space cadet, and so many things. That is going to affect our psyche. You're constantly being beat up and judged and feeling like you're less than or too much or anything in between. You're going to carry that with you, and it is something that's really hard to get over. So I just want to take a moment here before I continue to validate that your feelings are valid. The way you feel is valid. It may not be serving you, and we can definitely give you tips and work on aspects of how you see the world and how you perceive the world to move that needle in the right direction. The fourth reason that I believe that ADHDers struggle with letting go of the past is chalked up to our executive functions and the deficits that we have, so our executive dysfunctions when it comes to our neurotype. ADHD is associated with challenges in executive functions, which include skills like planning, organizing, controlling impulses, and self-regulation. A part of executive functioning is also the ability to shift attention from one thing to another. If someone with ADHD gets stuck thinking about the past, their executive function deficits might make it harder for them to shift their attention to the present or the future. So now that we know 4 possible reasons that are all closely linked as to why we might have trouble ruminating on the negative and not letting go of the past, let's talk about 3 things that you can do right now, completely ADHD friendly, to start moving that needle in the right direction if you're someone who suffers with thinking about the past and wanting to let it go, but really not knowing how to get there. The first tip is to practice mindfulness and meditation. A meditation does not have to be really long. It can literally be 5 minutes, and you can do it anywhere. I like to do a meditation in the morning before I have my coffee, where I just close my eyes and try to feel different parts of my body. It's a really great way to be present, because when we're in the present moment, we cannot catastrophize things that haven't happened yet in the future, and we also can't relive things that have happened in the past that we might be holding on to. So I'll sit in a chair just like this, close my eyes, and start feeling the different sensations in my body. I'll start at my feet, and when I can feel my feet touching the ground, then I'll move up to my shins. Once I'm aware that my shins are there and I can feel them, then I will try to feel my knees, my thighs, my waist, my chest, my arms, and then my head. It takes about 5 minutes, and it really forces me to be in the present moment during that time. A lot of times after I've done the meditation, I forget what I was ruminating about. So give that one a try and let me know how it works for you. And the second thing is just practicing mindfulness. A lot of times when we are focusing on the negative, we aren't thinking about the things that are working for us. It's really easy to drive down the road to work and to notice all of the stoplights that you are stuck at. But how many times are we noticing the green lights that we're going through? Energy flows where attention goes. So what we focus on the most will expand. And just knowing that we can fall into more negative thinking, that we can fall into holding on to the past, that awareness in it of itself can move the needle in that right direction so that you can stop ruminating or reliving negative things that have happened in the past. Start practicing gratitude. Instead of ruminating on that one person or that situation that didn't go right, what do you have in your life that is going right? Who do you have in your life that is good for you? What kind of supports do you have? Starting to take an inventory regarding what is going right instead of what is going wrong can really help bring us not only into the present moment, because we are intentionally trying to think of things, but it can also really move that needle in the right direction so that we're not thinking about negative things in the past. My third tip to help get you out of ruminating negative thoughts is to talk to a counselor if your memories are rooted in trauma, or hiring an ADHD coach, maybe even a mindset coach to help give you perspective. Living with ADHD and the big feelings that come with having ADHD is completely normal. And I think that sometimes as ADHDers, specifically if we just found out we have ADHD, we feel really alone. We feel like maybe we're the only ones who at times are more negative or overreact or live in the past. And I just want to give you some validation right now. This is completely normal. Many ADHDers struggle with this. And although living with ADHD at times can be really tough, neuroplasticity and looking at life through a more optimistic lens is very, very possible. You are never stuck in the trajectory of having to have a negative or unhappy life. I happen to have a mindset free masterclass link below this video that goes over the 5 pillars to creating lasting change when you have ADHD and you struggle with low self-esteem, low self-worth, and negative thinking patterns. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope that you got a few good takeaways from it. Please tell me in the comments what your takeaways were, and I will see you next week in the next video.